came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. They sing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon.
Well, here we go. Your dreams have come true. Brian and I are finally on the air.
It's been a long time coming.
You're watching the premiere of Full Court Press, also known as FCP. We're on YSN. This show's just, the audience tonight is amazing. Sold out. If you want to get tickets, you need to reach out to us to get tickets for future shows. But we'll be on every 2 weeks, starting tonight, June 19th.
Yep.
Brian, what do you think?
It's something we've wanted to do for a while. We talked about it. When we were coaching, we said when this is all done, we should get a show. We should do something different. We talked about, maybe joining a bowling team or a dart league and stuff, but...
We could bowl.
No, I can't bowl.
We can bowl.
But, so when YSN approached us to say they had a show for us, that it was perfect for us. It's going to be so much fun because we could be us and still talk a little bit of sports and do some other things too.
The people who have previewed some of the shows, some of our segments previously said that we're kind of a combination of ESPN Sports Center, Mike and Mike in the morning, Barstool,
right,
and then they even threw in Wayne's World.
I think we're probably pretty closer to Wayne's World.
Wayne's World.
When they do those trainings and stuff, and they give you like vision boards, and you're supposed to say what this is supposed to look like. I think ours is like Pee Wee's Playhouse.
This will be a train wreck, but it'll be a fun train wreck.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Hey, what are you drinking tonight?
Well, every show I'm going to do something different, and tonight I got Birdfish, and that's a local brewery out of Columbiana. This one is called Too Hip to Sip, and it's a hazy IPA, and an IPA is an India Pale Ale, which I'm not always thrilled about IPAs. They're bitter. They're usually pretty hoppy, but this one is really good, and Birdfish is a cool place to be. I don't know if you've ever gone down to Columbiana, but it's a cool place to be. So if Birdfish, if you're watching this, we're always looking for sponsors. And even if you don't sponsor us, I'm still going to drink your beer. So tonight I have the Birdfish Too Hip to Sip Hazy IPA, and I would suggest wherever you're at to crack something open. You'll enjoy the show so much better if you drink through it. You probably should have started drinking like a half hour ago, or drink real quick.
You probably don't want to understand even what we're talking about or what we're doing.
Right, because it's going to be a mess, and drinking's going to help, and it's probably going to help me too, unless you're in the car. We don't want you to drink it.
Don't drink and drive.
Don't drink it. Keep it under the dash if you do.
Tonight we've got a couple guests.
Yep.
We got Steve Miller from Western Reserve coming on the show. Girls basketball coach from Western Reserve. He's had a pretty heated rivalry with McDonald the last couple years. We tried to get some McDonald coaches on the show. We were unable to do that.
We got their AD.
But we got McDonald's AD, Randy Riccatelli, a friend of ours, coach for us.
Yep.
And then we've got the first pick of the SCP team.
Before we go into that, let's talk a little bit about the show.
The show.
So we're going to do things different. We're not going to sit here and we're not just going to interview people and ask them what their starting line is.
We don't care.
We're going to get in depth. We're going to talk to people, and we're going to do some other different things. We're going to do a segment we call Nerd Alert that you're big on because you collect sports memorabilia, and tonight
all kinds of crazy
we're probably going to talk about sports cards tonight. So we're going to do other stuff like that through other episodes. That's Nerd Alert, and you'll see some other stuff we're going to do. Sometimes we're going to get two people that might not like each other. They're going to go at it. We're going to call that Say It With Your Chest. And then we're going to do the coach's office, where we have questions for you from our community. They can send in a question, ask you a question, and that's
we're gonna answer them honestly.
That's no holds barred. We're not coaching anymore. We don't have to worry about anybody seeing this. We're gonna tell it like it is, and that's gonna be the coach.
One of the things we've talked about before, jokingly, is one of the reasons why we wanted a TV or a radio show is because we wanted to burn all bridges. That's probably going to burn some bridges.
And we have a lot of bridges to burn.
A lot of bridges to burn.
So, and then with our show, we also have some rules. And I think we should go over those before we start this whole thing. The first rule is from YSN. And no religious talk, no political talk.
Thank God.
So we're not doing that. So if you want to talk about Trump or Biden, go on Twitter.
Protest.
Don't hear. If you want to talk about God, religion, anything, not here. That's not the place for it. If you think Trump is God, this is really not the show for you. This isn't where you want to be. We can't talk about either one of them. So we're not going to do that. That's from YSN. The second one is we're not going to be polished. This isn't us being...
We're in a basement.
We're in a basement. We're not sports reporters. We're going to talk to people like we would talk to them if they were just hanging out with us. The difference is we got a camera and a microphone with us. So we're not going to be polished. Third thing, we're not going to break any news. We're not going to tell you where a kid signs or scores. We're not sending reporters out to tell you what's going on. We'll leave that up to the flagship. We'll tell YSN to do that, and maybe we'll be a part of that, but that's not going to be this show. We'll let Dana Balish tweet breaking news, and then some other people can retweet it and pretend that it's not. And then the last thing is we're not researching anything. So when we're here, when we're talking, we're going to tell you the truth, or at least what we think is the truth. And it might not be right, but in our head it was right at some point. So, like, if you come back and tell us that, that wasn't true, they didn't win that game, or that score was different, we don't give a shit, because we're not going to research it.
It's our show, so our opinion is...
It's our rules.
Facts.
So, the most important thing about this show is our opinion.
It's the only thing that matters.
It's the only thing that matters. So, let's talk about... Oh, go ahead.
Brian, we're very rarely wrong.
We've had a few instances.
Just a few.
But not many.
Not many.
All right, so let's talk about the roster.
The roster. So what we're going to do every episode is we're going to introduce a new member of the Full Court Press or FCP team.
Right.
And each member is going to be just a huge part of our team. They're going to receive a shirt to wear, and hopefully they keep their roster spot by tweeting and messaging.
One, we want people that have game.
Yeah.
That are going to represent FCP.
How do you represent us?
You tell everybody about us.
Yeah. You wear your shirt.
You wear your shirt. You get Twitter follows. You tell us how good we are, and you tell other people how good we are.
Yeah.
And
you got to bring viewers to us.
And you got to bring your game, because we'll kick you off. But we have a first pick tonight.
We do. It was a tough call.
Not really. We only had one kid that tweeted.
All right. Well, let me go get him.
Let's go. So this is the first pick
of
the Full Court Press roster.
Here it is.
With the first pick, we got Cam Carson. What's up, Cam?
Cam Carson.
How we doing?
Yeah, Cam.
Cam Carson is from Niles.
Cam, we set a pretty low bar for our first pick. We wanted to find someone that tweeted about us, and you were the only person that tweeted about us twice.
Cam wrote 2 tweets. The first tweet was, "This is going to be epic."
Right.
Cam is absolutely right. This is going to be either a huge success or an epic failure.
2 weeks.
One way or another, he was right.
Right.
What put him over the top, though, was his second tweet. It was basically everybody needs to follow these guys because it's going to be electric. And it absolutely is. So, thanks, Cam, for tweeting about us. We're thankful to have you. You are our #1 pick. That's really special. Kim, you want to tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I graduated from Niles in 2016. And then I just graduated from WashU this year, going into education, social studies, 7 through 12. And I coach baseball at Niles right now.
Nice.
Was it tough this year? I mean, obviously you didn't have a season.
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely tough, especially because it was weird. We had practice on a Wednesday. Everything was normal. We were just going about getting ready for the season. And then that Thursday, I remember I was student teaching at Niles, actually. And then we were in the classroom, and Governor DeWine went on. Yeah. And he was like, everything's getting shut down for 3 weeks. So, we didn't have time to prepare, tell our kids, really get anything ready. And everybody was kind of uncertain at that time. So we were just kind of going with the flow. And unfortunately, got shut down altogether. We had 6 seniors this year. Just kind of feel bad for them. Yeah. Because they put a lot of time and effort in. Really helped build up our program, pass the torch, keep it going. And they didn't get to play that final season.
Now, Cam, as you can see, we've got a packed house crowd tonight here. Lots of school administrators, I'm sure, are out there. And also, we got thousands of viewers. You're interviewing for a teaching job. I mean, what's going to put you over the top?
Well, I think my coaching experience is going to help me out.
Always helps the coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Always around the kids. I feel like I'm a pretty relatable guy.
Come on, Cam.
I have a lot in common that I could draw, make that real world connection. I know we talked about that.
Cam, this is a softball. What's the most important thing? You're a first round draft pick. What's the most important thing? You're the first round draft pick of FCP.
Absolutely.
You got to put that first on your resume. I think that guarantees you a job.
100%. I'm going to start turning my resume into places here soon, so I'm going to put that at the top.
If I was an administrator and I was interviewing and you came in and said, listen, I was the first pick for full court press. I mean, everybody knows what full court press is.
Absolutely.
So you probably would get hired.
Right. Yeah, I think so, too. I think that's definitely going to be a resume builder for me.
Do you think it's going to be an issue for you with your newfound celebrity? Is it going to be hard for you to walk through the streets and the mall and stuff like that?
The girls.
At first, it might be tough. A lot of people probably going to be asking for autographs at this point, wanting to take pictures and stuff, but I think I'll be able to deal with it. I think we'll get used to it.
We're going to get you a long sleeve shirt after this. I heard her selling on eBay for thousands of dollars.
I don't know if I want to sell it, though. I might have to frame it up.
Frame it and keep it.
No, we want you to wear it everywhere you go.
Yeah,
Don't frame it yet.
Right.
We'll get you two if you want to frame one.
Right, we'll build it. We'll build it up first.
That's right. Honestly, though, Cam, thank you for tweeting and thank you for being a supporter of ours. We talked a lot about who we wanted our first draft pick to be, and Jeff was adamant from the beginning that he wanted it to be you. So we appreciate your support.
Kim, I don't know you very well. My memories of you, though, are shirtless at soccer games, not soccer games, girls' games, with about 20 people there with numbers written all over your chest.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Cheering like crazy. That school support again. If you were on our basketball team, final question for you, Kim. If you're on our basketball team, what do you bring to the table?
What position do you play?
What position you play?
What position? I think I got to play the point.
The point? Okay.
Yeah.
First of all, it's because I'm short,
Okay.
But
You're our general, though.
Yeah,
you're leading the group,
You're a
right?
coach.
Yeah.
You're a coach on the court.
Right, exactly.
Extension.
Getting everybody going, putting people where they need to be. I feel like facilitating, setting everybody up to get better for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, well, good luck. If there's anything we can do in the future to help you, we're here.
Wear the shirt. Tweet like a son of a bitch. Get it done.
Tell your friends to watch the show.
If it doesn't work, if you're not doing the job, we're kicking you off the team.
Yeah, I don't worry about it. I got a big following. I'll send it out there. I got a lot of connections, so I appreciate being the first pick.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Cam.
Coach, we good?
No, that's it. That's our first segment right now. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back with our tip-off interview with the AD of McDonald, Randy Riccatelli.
Hey, we're back on the air. We have Randy Riccatelli.
Our man, Randy Riccatelli.
AD, our man, for the tip-off interview. Randy is now the AD at McDonald. He was our varsity assistant for probably 8-10 years.
10 years, yeah.
And then he was the head coach out at Mineral Ridge for one season. Randy, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, right now I'm a non-traditional student at Youngstown State University. 2 years ago I took the buyout at General Motors to return to school to get my education, and I have about a year and a half left.
Plan on becoming a teacher.
Plan on becoming a teacher.
That's
Now,
awesome.
what about your family? You're married, 3 kids?
Married, my wife Danielle, 3 kids, 7, 5, and 1, Dominic, Sophia, and Charlotte.
Okay.
And your girl's a soccer stud.
She has the potential.
Yeah.
Yep.
She plays for SBA.
She's on the SBA program.
Let's give a shout out to Soccer Vision Academy.
Yeah.
My oldest daughter, Bethany, grew up at Soccer Vision Academy.
Yep.
Greg Mitchell and Anthony James. If you're going to play soccer in the Tri-County area, you got to play for Soccer Vision if you have the goal of playing.
Yeah, we've been happy
college.
so far. We just started with them. We got cut short with the COVID stuff, so
Right.
we're looking forward to getting back.
Well, both of them are former college coaches, so.
I watched her on
We're the
Facebook, and
best.
it was crazy. I mean, her abilities around those other kids. She's flying.
She has a natural ability.
She's an animal.
She's an animal.
Animal.
Yeah.
I love it. What made you become the AD at McDonald?
Well, basically what happened was they literally had no one.
Okay.
So I kind of just fell into it.
You grew up at McDonald.
I grew up in McDonald.
Yeah.
I graduated from McDonald, and I happen to know Kevin O'Connell very well, the superintendent out there, and a couple coaches asked me if I'd be interested, and kind of snowballed from there. It's a great opportunity for me to get into education.
Last year was your first year as AD.
Yes.
Who was your favorite coach in the system?
Oh, not even close by far, Jeff Rasile.
Jeff Rasile,
Jeff,
yeah.
it's just.
I hear that a lot.
Just a different level than everyone else.
Yeah, I understand.
Let's flip that a little bit.
Okay.
How hard was it to have Jeff as a coach under you?
It was. I can understand if it'd be hard for other athletic directors. But knowing Jeff for so long, it wasn't hard at all.
Really?
When
Yeah.
you went to AD meetings, was there any bitching and complaining about me?
Just from the Louisville guys.
Oh.
Just from the Louisville guys. Other than that, it was
Speaking
fine.
of Louisville guys, can I jump in on this?
Yeah, sure.
Speaking of Louisville guys, we have Steve Miller coming in a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And we were talking about putting him up against, a rival, and we were thinking Western Reserve McDonald. That's a great rivalry.
Girls basketball. I mean, the elite two programs in the area.
So we asked the Louisville guy. We asked Tony Matizzi to come in, and
the new coach at McDonald.
The new coach at McDonald. He wasn't thrilled about it. So then we asked Amy Dolsack to come in. She did not want to come in. So you're our third option to talk a little bit about.
I was part of the third option for the AD too. It's all right.
But we thought it was cool that we had a little rivalry going, and that McDonald Western Reserve thing was going to be pretty heated with girls basketball this year.
You know what? That's the one game of the year where the girls get to experience that big boys game atmosphere.
Right, yeah.
And if they can go 3 times, that's
I don't want to say
cool.
sold out crowd, but a
Right,
sold out
yeah,
crowd.
right.
And the last 2 seasons they played 3 times. They played twice in the regular season, and then they played in the district championship. Split the district championships. 2 years ago, Western Reserve. Last year, McDonald.
And if you were at this previous district championship game, the atmosphere was pretty electric.
Yeah,
So.
it's
And they're
wonderful.
both bringing back.
Well,
great
McDonald's
teams.
bringing back all 5 starters.
Right.
We'll find out with Reserve, but I know Reserve's bringing back their main.
Yeah, they
players
lose the
also.
one shooter. That
Yeah.
might hurt them, but
Yeah.
Yep.
everyone
What's your
else-
prediction? Just out of curiosity.
I think McDonald sweeps them 3-0.
3-0 next year. Can't wait to get.
I don't
Steve
even
in
think
there.
a game will be within 12 minutes, to be honest.
12
Steve,
points.
come on.
Steve's really good right now.
So you coached a year at Middle Ridge.
Yes, I did.
How was that, considering you grew up in McDonald and there's, Brian and I aren't from McDonald. So,
Right.
we're from Hubbard.
Right.
When we were growing up, Brookfield was a rival. We understand rivalries, but McDonald, Middle Ridge for us as the boys basketball program, they weren't really a rival because they never beat us. It
Right.
was very rare
Right.
that they would beat us. So we didn't see that rivalry,
Mhm.
but I know that the long time McDonald fans, they
They
just,
hate
it's
'em.
Middle Ridge. It's Middle Ridge. How was it coaching there?
It was, well, first of all, my wife is from there.
Okay.
So I had a relationship with some of the kids already in the
Okay.
community.
Right.
So that was a good transition for me. But the first time I walked into the building as the Ridge coach at McDonald, it was definitely a unique experience.
Okay.
How
You had
much-
a good season.
We had a good season. We did. We went 13-9. We
Beat
lost,
Louisville.
We beat Louisville to help you guys share the
Yeah.
league title that year. And then we lost 7 games by 5 points or less. So I'll
Yeah.
take the blame on that.
Yeah.
The kids fought hard for me. I couldn't ask for anything
You had a
else.
good group of kids.
Yeah.
How much heat did you get from your buddies and McDonald people? Not much?
No, not much at all. They supported me as a friend,
Yeah.
and that's all I could ask for.
Do you?
My brother sat on the McDonald's side, by the way. That's one thing- that's one
We
thing
have a
out
question
there.
about you and your brother
Alright.
later on. Donnie sent in a question for you.
Okay.
Do you think you'll ever coach again?
As of now, I have no plans to coach again unless
Okay.
it was my own kids.
Yeah.
I don't have any
Okay.
plans to coach anyone else anytime soon. We just had girls cross country was open at McDonald.
Yeah.
Boys and girls basketball was open. I had no interest in applying in it. yet.
Okay.
Speaking of cross country, you have a history of that too.
I do, I ran-
as an athlete,
Yeah, cross
you
country,
played basketball,
and
football.
track.
Yeah.
Did you win a state championship?
I did.
thought
I
so.
started. My team started the dynasty. Really.
Yeah.
We were the first team to win one.
What are some of your best groups then from when you were in school? Obviously,
cross country.
you won state, right?
Yeah, and then in track we also won state as well. And a couple of our relays won some state championships.
How about basketball?
We lost in the district championship game 2 years in a row.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your football too, because I always see the picture you post on
I
Facebook
played
of you
for
and
my
your
freshman
brother.
year. And I
Okay.
started cross country my sophomore year.
Now, wasn't your brother playing on the same field with you?
He was
guys
a
one time?
senior when I was a freshman.
There you go.
Here's the
Yeah.
question for you that Donnie wanted to know.
Sure.
He said, tell Randy he's got to tell the truth. Who is the better Riccatelli basketball player, Randy or Donnie?
The better player who was
The
on the
be-
better team.
The better player.
Oh, it's me. That's not even. No, honestly, that's not
With
even.
Donnie, if we had Donnie sitting next to you, would he agree with that?
He would agree with that.
He would agree with
yeah,
that.
Yeah,
But he had the better team.
Yes. The one thing I was not able to do was get a team to regionals in basketball, and he got there twice. So
Oh, good for him.
he always has it over me.
Yep.
And he was a good 3-sport athlete. His football team made the state. He went to regionals a couple times at basketball. So he had a great career.
And he's coaching right now at Boardman?
Boardman, yeah, on the girls' staff at Boardman. His niece or my niece plays out there.
Let's talk about your AD position right now in the sports. What's going on with quarantine, COVID? I mean, what's going on with the sports right now? It's like,
Right now we're going through 3 phases. We're in the first phase, which lasts a couple weeks. And then as the phases go on, we can bring more kids in at one time.
okay.
Right now the thing is just getting all the supplies that the coaches need to keep everyone healthy.
I saw basketball was in the gym.
Yeah, but, we're going weightlifters, basketball, everyone's full go right now.
Yep.
So we're pretty excited about it. We just need to avoid a spike so we can keep
As
going.
the AD, which sport's the most difficult?
I would say anything in the weight room,
Okay.
just because everyone's kind of moving around and touching everything.
Okay.
But we have spray bottles down there. Every kid's spraying everything down. So
Kids taking it seriously, you think?
Kids are taking it seriously.
Good.
Yeah.
They should.
I kind of did a spot check today, and the coaches were doing temperatures with masks on, everything. They were following protocols.
Yeah, I know everybody was itching to get out there, so I was wondering.
Yeah.
I was worried that was just going to be a free for all.
No, for as excited as everyone is, we have to show a little bit of patience right now,
Right.
and everyone's doing that.
What's the word on the second wave? Do they talk about that when you get in your meetings and things like that?
Yeah, so the second wave is we get up to 30 kids, so
Okay.
that's full go for most of our teams.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll be playing sports in the fall?
I do.
Okay.
It sounds like the Trumbull County Board of Health has a good plan for a return to school.
Okay.
I know our superintendent just met with them yesterday, and then our sports will follow. If we're in school, we're going to be playing sports.
So are we on schedule with everything then, or is there? I know there was some talk originally like we're going to move seasons around. Like football was going to play here, where basketball has that
was
changed?
a rumor that someone started.
Okay.
We should be football in the fall. Everything's
Okay.
going to stay the same.
Okay, cool. How's our team looking football?
Good. We return 18 letter winners.
Okay.
We have a big line. Usually, when we have a big line, we do well.
Okay.
Because we always have the athletes.
Right.
So, and we have experience. So, big line, athletes, and experience. They should do very well.
Overall, next year, just in general with the sports, what do you see? I mean, girls basketball returning all 5 starters.
Yeah, so our golf team has a chance to go to state,
Okay.
which would be the first time in school history. Our cross-country teams are always do very well. They'll compete at
Sure.
the state level. Football will make the playoffs. Our boys and girls basketball team should do well. Our girls basketball team has a chance to do very well. And then our track teams are always loaded, so
Yeah.
it's going to be another just great year for McDonald's.
A lot of
sports.
tradition in McDonald.
A lot of pride, a lot of tradition.
Community support. I mean, the people buy into it. They
Yeah.
follow the kids, and
What's cool right now is if you look at the last names, we're getting on 4th generation kids coming
Right.
through now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You get Crumpacks, Kunkles, those type of names.
Yep.
So it's pretty cool to see that.
Yep.
Well, go ahead.
Speaking of basketball, since we left, you hired Jimmy Francischelli.
Yes.
So, talking a little bit about Jimmy. Let's
Jimmy's
let's
our man.
No,
Yeah.
listen, I've known Jimmy for a long time. We've obviously followed him while he was at Struthers. When I took over at the Mineral Ridge Rams program, the first 2 coaches I heard from to support me were Coach Rasile and then Coach Jimmy.
Yeah.
He brought his teams over right away. We battled, our teams went at it, and he helped my team get better. I helped his team get better. And
Yeah.
we've become close ever since then. I think everyone's going to be happy with how much energy he brings to the program.
Yeah. Yep.
He just has a good idea of what he wants to do, K through 12, and I think people will buy into that throughout the whole entire community.
Cool. How about the future for you? What do you think? What's
Staying AD.
You,
Well,
yeah.
you're gonna have to look for a teaching job, obviously.
Yeah, so I have about 3 semesters left at YSU,
Okay.
and then I'll be looking for a teaching job, and that'll kind of dictate my AD coaching role for the future.
Is your ideal place to be McDonald then? Is that where you'd want
It
to?
would be nice,
Yeah.
just because I'm so comfortable here,
Yeah.
but I'm not afraid to go outside of my comfort zone either.
Right.
Just like coaching up Mineral Ridge for 1 year.
Yeah.
If I'll do whatever I have to do.
What is AD experience should help you get a job, whether that be in McDonald or somewhere else?
Yeah, I think so.
And let me say this: I've had numerous ADs. I was a head coach for 20 years. Randy's top notch.
Thank you.
Yeah. There's any time you needed something, that text would come right back.
Yeah,
Phone
no
calls
doubt.
right
He
back.
needed something, boom, you were on top of it. So.
Yeah, it ends up being a 24/7 job.
Sure.
You know, my wife wasn't thrilled with how much I'm on my phone while I'm at
Well,
home.
let me ask you this question: without names or anything today, how many text messages or phone calls did you get today dealing with McDonald's sports alone?
Oh, probably first 8 hours of the day, and
I mean,
even on
that's
my way
crazy.
over here.
I mean, it's June 10th.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Probably over 30 texts,
Yeah.
probably 12, 15 calls.
I mean, that's what the ADs do, and it's
Yeah.
I mean, you don't make enough money to do that.
No, it's a
not a
thankless
full-time
job.
job. It really
Right.
is. But somebody's got to do it.
Yeah,
Well, we're thankful that you do it.
Yeah, you're a good one here, so we appreciate that.
I appreciate you guys.
Hell, I mean, that's it for Randy.
You got anything you want to add?
Yeah.
Do you want to do a shout out to your wife or anything like
No,
that?
Your anniversary was a couple
Yeah,
weeks
you know,
ago.
no, yesterday.
Couple weeks ago.
Yeah. yeah. So, happy anniversary.
And listen, let's just
Oh,
throw this
yeah,
in.
yeah,
Dominic, your oldest.
Yes.
He had some surgeries, but
Yes.
everything's good.
A couple weeks ago, we got a clean bill of health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
And he's good to go.
Dominic, man, I love him.
Yeah.
Full of
He's the
energy.
A lot of
best.
energy. He's a
Full of
full-time job.
energy.
Dominic is a full-time
The
job.
best
but
thing
it's
I've
great
ever
though.
seen with Dominic was when we were at practice and you brought him in and you were trying to discipline him on something and he was pointing at you. He was like giving you the EY and he was pointing at
He
you.
doesn't lack personality.
You were
He's
so
good.
mad.
And he's a little bit more
And he
disciplined.
loves WWE wrestling.
He's a freak wrestling
Yeah,
fan.
we,
Yeah.
he's just a nice kid.
We love him
I love
and
it.
we're so happy that he came through that and we're moving forward. Yeah, we wish you the best with that for sure.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Oh, hey, thanks for coming on, Randy. I'm sure we'll have you again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Next up, coach's office.
No, next up we're gonna do Nerd Alert. So we're gonna
Okay.
do Nerd Alert next, and then we're gonna bring Steve Miller in and talk about Randy.
Sounds good. All right.
Thanks,
All
Randy.
right, thank
guys.
you.
All right, we are back, and we have a little segment we call Nerd Alert. And Jeff is the biggest nerd I know, so talk to me a little bit about what nerd
Well, you know,
is.
when we put this show together, we started thinking about other segments, other things we could do. And, you know, as you know, I'm constantly texting you and our other guys with, you know, things that I buy. You know, I buy sports cards, I buy toys, wrestling figures, sports memorabilia, jerseys, as you could see in the background. You know,
Hence the green M&M over my right
can't
shoulder.
turn down an M&M.
Right.
You know, I had one and it was a loan, so I felt bad for it, so I had to buy a couple more M&Ms. But
And you'll see those in future episodes.
you'll see them. Yeah. Metal lunchboxes. I love my vintage metal lunchboxes. But today we're going to talk about sports cards.
Okay,
You
biggest
know,
thing.
My expertise is sports cards.
And that's probably the biggest thing in sports memorabilia is cards. Right?
Cards, yeah. And, you know, I've been collecting cards since I was a little kid, and, you know, I dabble on eBay a little bit and all of that. But, you know, you guys think we're just great basketball coaches.
Which we are.
But we're so much more diverse.
Which you are.
I mean, the things that we do, people would never think. I collect metal lunchboxes.
Positive and
So let's talk about sports cards.
Okay.
So, you know, first of all, I want to tell you that if you have any sports cards that you want to sell, you want to call Jeff at 330-979-8824, all hours of the day, and I'll take a look and see what I think. But
that's our first sponsor. We'll put you on the back
first
of the
sponsor,
t-shirt.
I'm going to be a sponsor of JR Sports Cards. A lot of people think because they have a box of cards that they have a winning lottery ticket. That is not the case, Brian.
Right.
You know, you've been around long enough to know it's not always about quantity. It could be, but it's not always about quantity. It's about quality. You might have 5 cards and it may be worth more than, you know, 10 million cards, depending on what those cards are. So I just want to give you some examples of some cards and go from there. And first,
Wait, cards generally are broken up in categories? Or,
you know, I like to break them up.
Okay,
I think
gotcha.
most collectors like to break them up. So vintage cards.
Gotcha.
You know, when people say vintage, what does that mean? Well, a vintage card to most people is anything that's pre-1980.
Okay.
You know, today we think vintage. Well, you know, 1990, that's 30 years ago. It must be pretty old. That's not old in sports cards.
All right, let me...
Yeah.
How long have we been making cards? 1800s?
Oh, 1800s. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, you really start to see them come around in the late 40s. The first Topps set, which is the major producer, was 1952.
They always talk about the tobacco cards.
Correct.
Have you ever had one of those?
Oh yeah. You know, they're in all the time. But you know, the 1952 Mickey Mantle was probably one of the rarest cards out there, and they're hard to find.
Okay.
And you wouldn't want to buy a 1952 Mickey Mantle unless it's graded. Because there's so many fakes.
And we'll talk about that. You said you're going to talk about that. Okay.
So first, I'm just going to give you an example of a vintage card. This is a Roberto Clemente from the 1960s. You'll see up in the corner there are some book prices. You know, like Kelly Blue Book for cars gives you an idea of what a card
sure.
is. There's something called Beckett for cards, and it gives you a price. However, Brian, something to keep in mind.
Nobody pays that.
Nobody's paying that.
Right.
Nobody's paying that. Yeah. So right now, you know, what kind of sets the market is eBay.
Okay.
So if I went on eBay right now, this card price sells for, in this condition, about $50, give or take. You know, $40, $50. And there's hundreds of them on eBay right now that you could buy.
So is more people selling collections or is selling individual cards? Or is it
on
all,
eBay it would be cards, individuals, because it's too hard to ship collections.
Okay.
But if you're buying local, I mean, you know,
Okay.
most people would be selling collections.
Gotcha.
Okay, the next thing I just want to talk about is like just rookies after 1980. I got a couple examples here. I'll show you the first one. 1982 Topps traded Cal Ripken.
That's not Billy Ripken.
That is not Billy Ripken.
With the,
yeah,
The
you know,
F face.
1989.
Yeah. That's the best card ever,
That's
by the way.
maybe, and you know, those, they're not rare, but they're $20 cards.
What did they just like stop making them, or
They did a couple things. First of all, they scribbled it out.
Okay.
And those are like $6.
Okay.
You know, book value. But
Yeah,
the ones that actually say F face.
Oh, there's cards out there that say it.
Yes, there are.
How many do you think are out there? Do you have any idea?
There's a lot. There's
Okay.
a lot. You can find them every day.
Okay. Yeah.
But this is a 1982 Topps traded Kyle Ripken. Now,
Gotcha.
his regular rookies came out in 1982, but this is a traded. It's a little bit more rare, and it's, you know, it's a couple $100 book value. You probably buy it on eBay for $75.
Okay.
Okay, brought a Kobe. You know, this is a 1996-97 Topps Kobe rookie. Now, interestingly enough, you know, we all know that Kobe passed a few months ago.
Right.
And, you know, when he passed, his cards immediately spiked.
Okay.
3 times what they were selling, 5 times, 10 times what they were selling the day before.
And they'll stay up, or they go back
down?
down?
They'll drop back down. So any rare occurrence in that person's life, whether it be death, unfortunately, or entering the Hall of Fame, you know, you'll see a spike in their...
How about things like even like when they're in the news?
Like arrested.
Or how about like Last Dance? Michael Jordan's
okay, great. So, you know, Kobe was the hottest thing for a couple months. He's still pretty hot. The numbers, it's starting to drop, plateau. But Michael Jordan for the last 2 months, insane.
Just because people are watching,
insane.
they want
you
his
know what?
cards.
Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen's rookie card book value went from $30
Right.
first of the year to $200 right now. Now the selling price on eBay probably went from like $10 to $50.
And then he got a headache and it went to $30.
Yeah, and he didn't play anymore, and Michael ripped him on the show. The last thing I'm going to show you, very simple, is pack certified autographs.
Okay.
Okay, this is not you getting a card, standing in line at the park, and you getting it signed.
Right.
Those are kind of, they just don't have as much value. This is pack certified.
Well, what about when you see like somebody at a show? Like a guy sitting at a table. Same thing.
Hand signed.
Yep.
You know, it's okay. I would not get a valuable card hand signed.
Okay.
Ever. To me, it takes away the value. But this is pack certified. So this was a card from Baker Mayfield, 2019, and this is his signature and Lincoln Riley's signature, his college coach. And what's unique about this one is it's referred to as a cracked ice card. There's only 24 of them made in the world, and obviously I have one of them. Now, the fewer that are made,
Yeah.
the more valuable.
Yeah, because we talked about, like, I think you sent me a text, you were doing soccer stuff.
Yeah.
And you had like 1 of 1 or 2
Christian
of 2.
Pulisic. So
Okay.
I was, I had a time period there where I was buying major soccer autos. So Christian Pulisic, I had bought his cleats, because sometimes they actually put part of their uniform in, and this one was cleats. They actually cut a couple knobs off of them.
They shave them.
They shave them, and they cut them in, and cards were like, the cards were like that big because of the cleat.
Yeah, sure.
Anyways, long story short, there were 2 made in the world. So there was a 1 of 2 and a 2 of 2.
All right, so do you have 2 markets then? Do you have a U.S. market and a world market?
You do.
Okay.
And actually, I had both of them, and which is crazy rare. You
Yeah.
have a 1 of 1. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But you have 1 of 1, 1 of 2, and 2 of 2.
Well, what
And
I
say-
was thinking, though, is like in terms of soccer, like, is somebody in
Brian,
England going to pay more
listen,
for that than
absolutely.
somebody? Yeah.
So your market for soccer, major soccer,
Yeah.
Asia and Europe.
Oh, really?
So those Christian Pulisics, I ended up selling on eBay a couple of years ago, I think, and they sold it Asia.
Yeah.
And eBay's got a unique policy now where you ship within the United States, then they ship overseas.
Gotcha.
So you don't have to do the shipping overseas. But a few things I
1 of 1,
would-
2 of 2.
Well, I mean,
Big
yeah,
deal.
Yeah, big deal. And what I would tell you this is first of all, don't think because you got a box of cards that you're rich. The other thing I would tell people is if you got a box of cards or 2 boxes, whatever, you got cards sitting in the closet and they're just sitting there, you might as well sell them because they're not doing anything there. So reach out.
That's not a up and down thing?
Listen, anybody that says that they're buying cards for investment purposes, you're a fool. You're an absolute fool.
Okay.
Because most cards don't.
See, I have some cards,
You do.
and they're not
Brian,
worth
I
a
remember
lot.
your collection.
But I have Walter Payton, I have Gale Sayers, I have that Terry
Yes.
Bradshaw you showed us earlier. Like I was
Terry
in
Bradshaw
I was in your closet. I saw that Terry Bradshaw. I have the same card, but it's almost like it's emotional to me. Like it's not making money and stuff like that. It's like I don't care how much it's worth. I just want to keep my cards. And I think a lot of people when they sell them, they're basing it on what
they paid and the emotional
Right,
and the
right,
attachment.
right.
But you know what's unique about us anymore? Let's face it, we're getting older. We're nearing 50. And
Yeah,
we,
for sure.
We almost, you see people going through a midlife crisis. I mean, we want to look back. That's why I buy
Yeah,
cards.
yeah, it's
That's
nostalgic.
why I buy
Right.
metal lunchboxes.
Right.
That's why I buy M&Ms.
right.
It's just fun.
Yep.
So, like I said before, you have any sports cards? You have any sports memorabilia? You have any unique toys that you want to sell? You reach out to Jeff Rasile, 330-979-8824.
What's next on Nerd Alert?
Oh, next episode, Nerd Alert.
2
so
weeks.
We're gonna talk about vintage metal lunchboxes. I have quite a collection of vintage metal lunchboxes. I mean, I love them.
Yep.
And we are fortunate enough, we've already booked a world-renowned expert on metal lunchboxes, and he's bringing in his lunchboxes to show us. You people are going to be amazed. His knowledge is just off the charts.
Can't wait. Next up, Coach's office. We're going to talk to you.
You guys are going to put me on the
We're
spot.
going to put you on the spot. That's coming up next. All right, we are back, and right now we're in the coach's office. This is a segment that we put together, and we talked about something we could do that we could be honest with everybody that's watching and talk a little bit about what's said behind the scenes. So we asked some people to give us some questions.
Well, we always say this. When you're out in public, you're
You say
a coach,
one thing.
You're political.
Right.
You try to, be careful what you say.
Right.
When you enter that coach's office, it's no holds bar. you say what you got to say.
So we got 3 questions for you, Coach.
Three questions from the area.
And you don't know these. I mean,
Oh, boy.
we're going to be honest. So,
and I got to answer them.
You have to answer them. So the first one is actually from Hubbard. So it's our hometown. It's Brent from Hubbard. And he says, what is the biggest issue you've had with fans?
Oh, this is an hour show.
Yeah.
Brian, we've coached, 500 high school basketball games?
Right.
Out of those 500, how many times do you think we've had problems with fans?
Every time we went to Sebring.
450. Wow. Well, let's talk about Sebring.
Would you say that was your number one?
When the guy came out of the stands with the handrail.
With the railing in his hand?
That was up there, but I think, you might remember this one. We weren't even coaching necessarily. It was during an 8th grade game. Do you remember 8th grade versus Sebring? Zach's 8th grade year?
I was doing the book.
We're at home.
I was doing the book for that.
At home? The game starts, and we always sat on the opposite side of our fans. We always sat on the visitor side.
That's when you wanted to kick the whole stands out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so Zach shoots the first shot. He misses the shot, and right away their fans start like.
Yeah.
He's
an 8th grader.
8th grader.
Yeah,
8th
right.
Grader.
He's the kid's 13, 14 years old.
Whatever you are in 8th grade.
Right.
And their fans start hearing, how you like that shot, Jeff?
Right.
And they ended up beating us that game. It was relatively close, but they beat us, and they had a good team.
Yeah.
Every player was 6 inches bigger than our guy.
They were supposed to go to state this year.
Correct.
Right.
This past year, they were going to state. But anyways, so at one point during the game, as they're jeering at me the whole time, I stopped the game and said, if you guys say one more word to me, I'm throwing everybody out. Now, I didn't know if I had the power to do that.
You had no authority to do that.
But I was going to do it.
Yeah.
Everybody was going to go, but they ended up winning the game, and we practiced. It was on a Wednesday night. We had varsity practice afterwards. And we immediately, on a Wednesday night, go on the court. We start, doing layup drills or whatever.
Right.
And they wouldn't leave the gym. Do you remember?
Yep.
They stayed in the lobby.
Yep.
And we ultimately, went out and said, you got to leave. It was 45 minutes after the game.
Right.
And they wouldn't leave. And we ended up calling the police and having the police remove the Sebring parents, or some of the Sebring parents, from that lobby. But as that was going on and I came out and said, you guys got to leave, they were, chanting at me or whatever, or just mouthing off to me. And I'll never forget. So were the parents going, this, wait till high school.
Yeah.
Well, wait till high school. Zach was 10-0 against Sebring in high school. That's why you never put any stock in the 7th and 8th grade, or you put little stock. Because things change in a hurry. They were so much bigger than us in 8th grade, but they weren't bigger than us in high school. But, I'm sure there's some nice people from Sebring.
I'll say this, though, about Sebring. Some of those guys that gave us the hardest time actually turned out to be pretty friendly with you as you moved on.
A few of them at the Sebring. At Sebring, they sat behind the scorer's table. They were fine, but I'll say Gabe Lanzer's father.
Not the guy that wanted to hit you with the railing. Not him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've heard that he says, I really like Jeff as a person, as a coach. I don't know, maybe that was just one of those situations.
Right.
But Gabe Lanzer, who graduated this year and was a good player for them, his father reached out to me at the end of the season and said, I just want to congratulate Zach on a terrific season,
which is awesome,
and a terrific career. And,
yeah.
That's some mutual respect between kids, and that was a parent who obviously understood versus some of the others.
Right. All right. Second question. And we're keeping in line with places we know. This is Ray from McDonald. Ray wants to know what is your all-time starting lineup?
All-time starting.
So
does that include champion?
Yeah, that's what we're gonna have to. We're gonna have to have some rules from this. Is this all coaching, or is this McDonald champion? Is this by position, or is this like top 5 guys?
That's tough because a lot of people don't know that we were a champion for 4 years.
Right.
And
I had some really good players.
Well, Nathan Kish,
right.
the current coach at Champion, played for us his senior year, and he was an absolute superstar.
All right, let's just go top 5.
All right, top 5.
No position.
Champion
Both.
Well, number 1, Zach. I mean, Zach was a different beast. I mean, he's we talk about Cam Carson tonight.
Boy.
Yeah, Daddy's boy. Zach's number 1.
Yeah, he's
number 1.
He's got 3,000 points.
Yeah,
there's no
number
denying.
2 is really, it's a tough call. You've got Matthew Seitz in the mix. You've got James Beat on the mix.
Which was the ultimate or highest scorer in McDonald history before Zach.
Yeah, Matthew Seitz, 1,400 points.
Yep.
You've got Braden Poole in the mix. You've got Nathan Kish in the mix. If I had to play a big game tomorrow, and I'm picking my second guy, I'm picking Zach number 1. But number 2, I think I'm going with Nathan Kish.
Really?
Yeah, who are you going with?
I mean, Nate's on the team. There's no doubt for me that Nate's on the team. But
Braden had it all. He was special.
See, my problem with coaching versus your coaching is you're superstar oriented. I was grind oriented.
Yeah.
That's just our personalities and stuff.
Well, I don't know if any of those guys are grinding.
So I'm always picking a Rhoda because those kids were nuts, but they're not. They're not talent wise. You're top 5 kids, so I can understand what you're saying with that.
I think when Braden Poole had his A game,
was a freak.
He
can do whatever he wants.
Long arms.
Right.
He's
Braden's on that team.
Great career on the team. Is he your?
So we don't have to go 1 through 5.
Well,
so let's go Zach, Nathan, Braden. Right.
Nathan, Braden, Matthew Seitz. Who's number 5?
Who's number 5 for you? It's your question.
James Beadle.
James Beadle was a kid that when we came into the program was a JV player. He played part-time varsity.
Amazing.
Right.
Yeah, so we came in his junior year. He didn't play much varsity as a sophomore. The kid, he was relentless, just a competitor, and he
just couldn't lose.
And he would just chuck it from deep. And he just wanted to win.
We used to have conversations with James that he had to take it easy on the JV team.
Yeah, he'd steal the ball from...
literally, we would go through practice and the JV couldn't get past half court. And we were like, at some point, James, the JV has to get an offense.
Yeah.
Because he was just relentless.
Brian, we talk about grinders. I mean, obviously, if we're just not necessarily pure talent, but grinding, I mean, the Rodas would be on that list.
Right.
You know who else would be on that list? Is Scott Setner.
Yeah.
If Scott Setner doesn't blow out his knee,
yeah,
that was my first undefeated team.
Yeah.
We may go to state.
Right.
Scott wasn't the most skilled kid on that team, but he might have been the MVP of that team because of what he did: rebound, defend,
ran point,
score 12 points, ran point.
Yeah.
A little bit. So those were some grinders, but we've had some great players over the year.
The thing about the Rodas, though, I mean, when you look at the Rodas, they're 80-0.
80-0.
How can you argue against
freshmen playing JVs?
I mean, and it's funny about the Rodas because you always talk about them as one person. They're always two people as one. The Rodas.
Nick played in the North-South game.
Yeah.
Nick was the first and only boy to play in the North-South game. Zach would have played this year, but the game got canceled. And the only girl, I believe, to play is Jackie, my wife.
Who would be your second champion kid besides Nate? Like if there was someone on the
Mark Kish, Nathan's brother.
Kevin doesn't blow out his knee, he's up there.
Kevin Stingle blew out his knee before his senior year.
Yeah.
And Kevin had a good junior year. But, Mark was a great player. Mark and Nate were about the same size, 6'4"-ish, but Nate was a pure guard. Mark was more of a forward.
Yeah.
Small forward.
Both
of them went and had a great college careers.
How about your fringe kids at McDonald then? Who can you think of?
Who's like honorable mention? Who's coming off the bench?
Yeah.
I mean, Justin and Nick, obviously. Matthias.
Yeah, for sure.
Bradley
Hinton.
Bradley Hinton was first team All-State.
Adam Streb. I mean, I know Adam doesn't get a lot of recognition, like not a lot of people, but he had a great senior year.
Adam Streb had one of the greatest senior years, 1 year in McDonald history. He did not play varsity as a junior. He played JVs because that was our first undefeated team.
Well, I can remember, I don't know if it was his freshman or sophomore year that we kept him when he got cut the previous year. And he was so happy that he made the team.
On that team, Andy Timko was a great player.
Yeah, Andy.
Nick Testa. Steve had mentioned Nick. And you're talking about a kid who averaged 13 rebounds a game. I remember we only coached him his senior year, but I remember reading in the newspaper his junior year, 13 rebounds a game, and I said, that's bullshit. They were padding no stats. I did the stats, 13 rebounds a game.
I remember when we were going somewhere in the summer with Champion, and you said, we needed extra players, and we took Nick, and you were like, wait till you see this kid. Yeah. Wait till you see this. And then we probably have some limited... Because we were only with him with 1 year. Mm-hmm. If we were with him for 4 years, maybe he makes sense.
Nick was smart.
Yeah, he was
a smart player. There's a guy that we always talk to in the community who says, eras. What era from McDonald is the best?
Yeah. You go by decades.
Decades. Yes, and he always said the 1990s he thinks was the best. And I say, think about this.
He may have been one of our interviews today.
He may be the AD of McDonald right now.
And it's probably not Steve Miller.
and I always say, could you imagine the 2010 teams? Could you imagine trying to defend Bradley Hinton, Zach Rasile, Matthew Seitz? I mean, it's just insane.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys... and
that doesn't even include, besides Zach, some of the latest kids.
Right.
I mean, there are some really good players that came out of the last couple of years. You're even talking about, record and stuff like that.
Even Evan McGill almost averaged a triple-double.
Right.
So, it's hard to come down to 5, but if I had to give you my 5 right now, Zach, in no particular order, but Zach would be number 1. Yeah. I think he's just changed.
No particular order, but Zach's number 1.
And honestly,
that particular order.
Give you an order. Ready for the order? Zach is Zach Rasile 1, Nathan Kish 2. Boy, on the spot, big game. I'm going to go Matt Seitz 3.
Okay.
Braden 4.
Yeah.
James Beadle 5. And that's a tough call.
That's a good team, though.
That's a really good team.
All right, last question. We got somebody from Columbiana County. We got Russ from Salem. He said, how important is summer work for basketball programs?
Oh, well, that's a great question right now because of Corona.
Right.
Because they're shut down. You know what? Early in my career, middle of my career, I thought summer was everything. I really believed that you better have the greatest summer.
Right.
But interestingly enough, one of our best teams, Zach's freshman year with Evan McGill and Dylan Portalease, Braden Poole, we did not have a good summer.
Yeah, we were upset about some kids not showing up. Yeah.
Yeah, the seniors didn't show.
Yeah.
The seniors didn't show. We were on the verge of cutting some of those kids.
That's right.
And they were good kids. They didn't show.
Yeah, and at that point, like you said, we thought you have to show up to everything this summer for us to win.
Right. And you know what it was crazy because we thought we were going to be in trouble. That's actually when Zach kind of took a lead even. You remember we'd go to summer camps and I would be playing because we didn't have enough kids.
Right.
And Zach was carrying us through the summer as a freshman. Right. If you remember Zach's freshman year, I came to you guys and said, we're going to play Zach 1 quarter of JV basketball.
Right.
Every night.
Right.
And you and Lance Rongi said there's no chance.
Yeah.
If he goes down a JV game, we're done.
Right.
And that was the right call. I mean, that's when you talk about
typically when you ask us a question, we made the right call.
Yeah, you guys always made the right call. But that year, that was one of our better teams, maybe the best team we had because they could flat out score.
It was a complete team,
and they had a horrible summer. So
right.
maybe summer isn't as important. Talent first of all wins. Maybe summers. I believe that you get better as an individual in the summer.
Yeah.
And you get better as a team during the season.
I see that.
So that's when you could really, as an individual, maybe close the gap on someone or earn a spot.
Okay, so is it more important for the individual to go in your gym, or is it to be in his driveway, or to get a trainer, or whatever? Because there's
today, training.
They're training 12 months.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
Listen,
let's be honest here. I hate to see parents waste money, throw money down the tubes, but if it's just like lifting, weightlifting or whatever it is. It's a lot easier to do when you got a guy behind you telling you what to do versus you trying to do it on your own. Very few kids are self-driven. So, getting trainers and, that doesn't hurt.
So that leads me, it leads me into Brian from McDonald has a question.
Brian from McDonald. Used to coach, I think.
So you're talking about, the work in the summer didn't lead to success, but then you talk about, effort versus training. I mean, what's it come down to? Is it coming down to a kid running through a wall, or is it coming down to a kid that can dribble and shoot? I mean...
and it's all what you're looking at. Are you trying to win high school games, or are you trying to get college scholarships? Running through a wall doesn't get you a college scholarship.
That's right.
You better have some talent.
Yeah.
But you could take a kid and I'll use the Rotas, which we have mad respect for.
I mean,
they are animals, and I would take them on my team every single day of the week. But they couldn't necessarily put the ball in a hoop like Zach or James Beadle or Matt Seitz. But yet they didn't lose.
Right.
So in that situation, maybe running through a wall is and having some talent.
Yeah.
Because let's not pretend the Rotas didn't have talent. They were talented.
Or maybe that guy that fills that spot. Maybe there's a guy that runs through the wall that knows he's not shooting and he's going to pass.
Well,
like Kenny Ross is a kid that we had years ago, and he was part of successful teams. He rebounded. The kid rebounded.
You know what? He was good with that. We were undefeated that team.
Yep.
He was good with that. His parents were good with that. Great people.
Right.
Great people.
Yep.
And, we didn't get they didn't come say, I want Kenny to get more shots.
Yep.
They said, we're thrilled that Kenny is on a winning basketball team and is contributing. There aren't many, kids and parents that are like that.
Yep.
And that's why we've had success, though, is because we've been able to piece those pieces together, and kids have bought in.
And as much as they hated to hear it, we told their kids their roles. And not to say we're always right. I mean, sometimes you can make mistakes, but we think this is your role.
We did say at the beginning, the rules are that we're always right, pretty much.
Okay, so we were always right, but we told a kid what we thought he should do, and they did it. And our best teams were the kids that did what we told them to do.
And the toughest moments were when we had kids who didn't do it.
That's right.
And every coach has experienced that. We were probably a little bit more blunt than most coaches.
Right.
And we've talked about this before, but feed the hogs.
Yep.
We learned that a long time ago. We gave the ball to our best players, and we said, go ahead and stop us.
That's right.
And if they stopped us, we lost. In some situations, our best players couldn't get it done because their players were a little better.
Yep.
But we've won 80% of our games.
That's right. All right, that does it for Coach's Office. If you have questions for Coach Rasile, send them to us on Twitter.
Twitter, at FCP YSN.
Or on Facebook, where we don't know how to get a hold of us.
Listen, I'm not a social media guy, but I think you access it through Jeff Rasile.
Yeah, Jeff Rasile, and you'll see the little FCP logo next to him. Put a question in a message, and we'll make sure we get it on the air.
We need Twitter followers.
Yeah.
My son said that we'll never have 500 followers.
Yeah, that's the problem we've already seen with social media already is like we got a ton of Facebook people but no Twitter, and I think that just means we're old.
We are old.
Yeah, and Facebook's old, Twitter's young. So we got to get young. We got to get some young guys.
We got to get younger.
All right, that's it for Coach's Office. Send in your questions, and up next
up is the final shot.
And that's
Steve
the final
Miller.
shot. Steve Miller's coming in next.
Here we go. We got our final interview of the day. We've got the last shot with Steve Miller.
Final shot, last shot, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, whatever.
We were
it is.
debating that, which we should
It's
go
a final
for.
interview.
Yeah, it's a final interview.
Steve is the head girls coach at Berlin Center Western Reserve. How long you been there, Steve, for the girls?
It's 7 years.
7 years. You want to tell us just a little bit about yourself for people that don't necessarily follow girls basketball?
Before
in this area?
Steve starts, we want to let you know that Randy Riccatelli wanted to sit in, so he's off camera right now. So if you hear someone chiming in on Steve, it's Randy off.
I'm surrounded by all these McDonald's.
I know,
All
right?
McDonald's.
By
And
greatness.
M&M's.
Surrounded by greatness.
So if you hear some ghost voice out of the that's Randy Riccatelli. He wanted to make sure he sat in for this interview.
And it's ironic that we're going to call this the last shot. First off, I never got to take the last shot. I always had to pass the ball. And then, there was a game last year that kind of came down to the last shot that didn't work out so well for us. So
Us too.
That-
Regional semis.
Yeah. So give us a little history.
Yeah,
of
a
just
yourself.
little bit about
you.
myself. All right, so first off, I played at Western Reserve. And then I took over the boys' job probably 2000. Coached the boys for 8 years. Obviously, that's when we began, if you want to call it, some sort of a relationship.
Right.
Love-hate.
Started off a little bit, started off
yeah.
a little bit competitive, till we got to know each other a little bit.
Let's
better.
jump in there real quick. So my first year at McDonald's, you were the boys basketball coach
Right.
at Western Reserve. You had a good team. And
Yeah.
you beat us twice in the regular season. We ended up getting you in the district semis.
All right, and so
What did you think about us?
now let's
First impression.
Yeah. I thought you were an asshole.
Were you the only one?
Some things never change.
Were you
No.
the only one in the conference who thought I was an asshole?
Absolutely not. One thing that's never changed about you is you've never been liked. All right,
And I've always been an asshole.
That's right. So basically, I coached the boys for about 8 years,
Yeah.
and that first year, which would have maybe been my second or third year, was your first
I
year.
bet, yes.
And then we ended up, I think we were the league champs that year.
Right.
Then you ended up beating us at Struthers like 56-50.
Who was your stud that year? You had a real good player.
Jake Zatchok.
Jake
Yeah, Zatchok.
Zatchok was he was player of the year.
He was good.
But there was battles. I mean, we
Yeah.
were at your place. It was an absolute war.
I
I think
remember.
we ended up beating
Yep.
them by 2 or 3. Zatchok got his head split open.
I
that year.
remember.
But I mean,
Kunkel, Joey Kunkel.
let's be honest. I think that was Beetle. That might have been Testa. You had players.
Well, we had Beal
McCall,
and
yeah.
Testa. Testa senior.
I mean,
Beal
he's an
senior.
800 rebound guy,
Yes.
800 point guy. You don't even see that with rebounds.
Yeah.
But so we both had good teams.
Was that your best team at Western Reserve for boys?
No, we won 16 games that year, but we had won 13 in a row. And then
Okay.
3 years later, I won 19 games.
Okay.
You went 20-0.
Okay.
So we had.
I
20
can't
games
remember
back
what
then.
year
So
that
I-
was because we won 20-0 a lot.
You did. On the 3 year. So what happened was.
Was that part of that 3-year skid?
That was part of that 3 year skid
Okay.
with the Rotas and all them.
Okay.
But I was probably just on my way out.
Is that the reason you went to?
I got tired of playing second fiddle. Well, we had Jeff Brink
Yeah.
at Springfield had a run, and he
Right.
won 20-0 in a couple
Right.
years. Well, I was always number 2.
Yeah.
And then I'm battling to be number 1. I got to be number 1 for a year,
Yep.
and then McDonald's started their run, and they went 20-0 for a couple years. But
And then in girls, Amy came in.
and then Amy came in, and she's been sticking it to me for a little bit. But all's good now because
Yeah.
Amy's
Amy's
out,
gone.
and
Yeah.
I don't So things.
Well, just
looking
real
brighter.
quick about us. So we started off a little rocky. I think there was some words exchanged one of the first games. But we ended up then, Riley, your boy, is a year older than my son Zach. We ended up starting an AAU program
Right.
and working together, and that's when we became real close friends.
Yep. So basically, even though we were arguing or mouthing each other in the game, it was a competitive nature. And when you're a player or when you're a coach, those are the games that you even look more forward to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
we talk about
all-
that's
it's
all.
a driving force all off season. I'm coming after you.
Right,
And and I felt and knew that you had the same coming with me. And so, hey, we're both working and doing our job. In fact, you were a guy that basically never scouted.
Never.
And if you scouted, I was like, oh, he's a little concerned because he's watching us. He ain't watching anyone else. That was always your approach and your analogy, and it pissed a lot of people off. It was like the arrogance, and I'm like, he's already got you, you know. And your whole mindset was always that, which me and you always had a mental mindset playing. I'm going to do my thing. I'm not going to worry what the hell you do, and I know what you're going to come and do. So,
Brian and I always like to refer to it as confidence, not arrogance.
Well, you know, talking about that though, we always felt that if our teams played at 100%, it didn't matter what the other team.
Yeah, we had to do what we did best.
You know, so if we could do what we could do with our kids, they could do whatever they want. They play their A game, we play our A game, we're gonna win.
And you know, like you're there competing, and people's worried what you're gonna do, or he's gonna press us, or he's gonna run the score. But like, just get better. I mean, when I was playing Brink, when I first started, he was loaded.
Yes.
Still.
I remember.
And I come out of halftime, and it's already humiliation time. Well, I went over to him and I said, Jeff, I don't take this the wrong way, but you coach your team and do what you want. But I'd appreciate if you would continue to press me. Mm-hmm. We've worked on it at practice. We just worked on it at halftime. I just want to see if we could do it. Mm-hmm. I know everyone up there is going to be hating you. Who cares? But it's you do it as long as you can for me.
Well, you and I have talked about this. We've talked about this numerous times. It's insulting when the other coach takes it easy on you. When he pulls out of the press or changes or even puts in his subs.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I would rather you beat me and beat me bad, and I learn a lesson and the kids learn a lesson.
And I remember, Brink looking down at me as they're still pressing, and our fans are screaming at him. He's like looking like Steve, and I told him to. Like, what do you want to do? Take it easy on Billy and Johnny? Like, I coached travel softball for a couple years. It was embarrassing coaching if a team had to walk off the bag because we couldn't get them out. We're going to get better.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I was always on that, like, no.
Give me your best shot.
This is what we want. So I was always, hey, you coach your team, I'll coach mine, and do what you have to as far as that goes.
Steve, do you remember this? Just a real quick story. Our first AAU game.
Oh,
we got called out to the middle.
I'm already going to finish it for you. They took our picture with the scoreboard in the back.
Oh,
that
the refs call us out to the middle of the court, the coaches, and the opposing coach says, hey, I just want to know what's the whitewash rule, basically, or whatever. And they're like 50 points. I don't even know what it was. And we're looking at him like, there's no chance you are beating us. Like that. At one point in the game, they were 50-4. They were killing us.
It was
killing us. It was insane. We thought we had a pretty good team, and they buried us. But we didn't complain.
And we played that team later in the year.
We did.
And only lost it, but we gave them fits.
Because our thing was, hey, listen, we thought we were okay, and we actually were okay.
Yeah.
We won some games and won some tournaments, but that first game was an adjustment.
They threw some stuff at us.
Yeah,
that
we just weren't ready for it. But.
All right, let's go back. How'd you make the transition then from boys to girls?
Boys to girls.
Oh, here we go. So I took a few years off. I have 5 kids. So, I don't know, somewhere in there where maybe I had my 5th child. And, I mean, it's a lot on a family. It's a lot on a wife.
Let me ask you this before we go on. Was that a conscious decision that you wanted to have 5 children? That's a lot.
From my standpoint...
I have 2 kids, and I can't imagine having any more.
So I come from a large family. I'm one of 6.
Okay.
Always crazy, hectic, Christmas, everything.
Yeah.
My wife comes from a family of 2.
Okay.
Well, when she come into the family and started to see this craziness, she just kind of thought, oh, I guess maybe this ain't bad. So you have 1, you have 2. We had a girl and a boy. I thought, hey, I'm done at Palm Beach.
Yeah.
Another.
And
another. And then I'm like, oh, well, now we got 2 of each. We're good.
You got to break the tie.
Yeah, and then at that point it was like, I need 5 to make a team. So whether it's co-ed or not, we're going for it.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing I don't like baseball.
What is it harder to coach boys or girls?
To be honest, I really, the transition was pretty easy for me.
Okay.
I didn't find a whole lot different. Now, is there differences?
You were a successful boys coach. You're a successful girls coach.
All right, so...
But it's different, though.
Yeah, so I got hired a little bit late. So what happened, the transition was, I took a few years off. And they had a couple coaches that came in. And Tim King came back and said, hey, Steve, I'm leaving. Are you ready? And I said, yeah, I think I'm ready. So I kind of put in for the job, and the board decided to go a different direction, which they hired Patsy Del Toro, which is still there.
Yep.
So, sour grapes, what am I supposed to do? Sit there, put my tail between my legs, go coach somewhere else? I mean, I wanted to coach again, but oh well.
Right.
There's always opportunities, there's always jobs. It wasn't maybe 3 weeks later, the girls coach at the time, Josh Scott, went and took the athletic director's job, coached
I didn't know Josh was there. I didn't know
Sebring.
that. Okay.
And so the girls' job was open. So I just wanted to coach again.
Yep.
Now, I have plenty of daughters and sons, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, right.
So
You could go either way.
I jumped over to the girls' side, and my daughter at the time was a freshman.
Okay.
So instead of coaching Riley, I was going to coach Sydney.
Yep.
And then my first meeting with the girls was in June because I kind of got hired a little bit late as far as that goes, putting stuff together. But the first thing I told them is, listen, I'm not coaching girls basketball. I'm coaching basketball.
Yep.
I don't think they really knew what that meant.
Yep.
But they kind of, we were tough. We
I
weren't
think
real
that's a
skilled, but
huge
we were
advantage.
tough.
I think it's a huge advantage. Not to sound sexist, I think the coaching's a little stronger in boys basketball than girls basketball. So when you see these boys coaches go to the girls' side and coach them as if they're coaching boys or just basketball, I think that's a huge advantage. I really do.
And there was a transition time though where it seemed like for a number of years, even in our area, there was a lot of strong girls coaches, and a lot of them were when I was on the boys side coaching boys.
Yeah.
And then they had went over. But I did think initially when I went over, I had an advantage.
Yeah.
With some of the tactics and things that I would do, the speed of the game. And we got to the regional that first year, and a lot of it I think was just on toughness.
You brought up that you coached your daughter. You know, I get to ask this question all the time. What's it like to coach your kid? Now, Sydney's already graduated. Now you move on to Kennedy. She'll be a senior next year.
Yep.
So what's it like? You've coached your own daughters now for what, 7 years in a row, 8 years in a
Yeah,
row?
well, I had the 1 year off when she
Okay.
was in 8th grade. I mean, I guess I was coaching before I was a father.
Yes.
And I started way back, like when I first, Sydney was actually born, and I was teaching at Youngstown City, and I was coaching at Lowville, and I was doing junior high football, freshman basketball, and assistant varsity basketball. So I was kind of coaching before I was a dad. So my foundation was already
It's
there.
there.
But I had seen dads that coached, and you can always learn something from somebody, whether it's right or wrong.
Sure.
So you're always kind of sitting back learning, saying, what does he do that's good and not good? But, I mean, make no mistake about it, I've had my, problems and struggles and issues with it. Now with Sydney, which was maybe my first go-round, at the varsity level, I think if I had to do some things over again, maybe I would, I think I was a lot tougher on her than I was on Kennedy now. And I had a lot of coaches, scrimmages, games, everything. Like, man, you're kind of tough on your kid.
I think that's a pretty typical
And-
story for
and,
first kids that
and
come
I
through a
was,
coaching
all the
job.
and my assistant would tell me that all the time. Like,
Yeah.
do you think so? Because I try to think before I speak, or I
Right.
try to treat her equally. But they're like, no, man. She does all the coaching things. She's always boxing out. She runs the floor. She's in position. Like, why you always? And it's like, well,
let me jump in. Even some of the little things, like just showing up for practice on time. Coaches' kids have this expectation. They know.
Yeah.
They know to be at practice. They know to be there 15 minutes early, whatever it might be. And some kids don't always get that.
And
I always got, people would say to me, I think you're easier on Zach. And I said, with Zach, when I call him to the sidelines and I do this, it's not pretty. It's going to be an ugly conversation. But we didn't bring it home. Do you bring it home?
no, and that was one thing.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of had a talk with Sydney. I said, I know you might be excited or you want me to be your coach, but let's look at some things because of that. And to be honest, I was kind of lucky because Riley, even through travel or when I was going to put in for the boys' job, he wanted me to coach him, and I wasn't sure. It's like, that's tough on a kid, especially
Sure.
when you're at the same school and teaching all day and you're there. And then Sydney wanted me to coach her, and so did Kennedy. So that kind of at least makes you feel good. But I did tell her, I said, listen, as soon as we walk off the court, I'm dad again.
Yeah.
You have to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So before we would go home, just like if there's a talk with any other kid, I would try to talk with her there at school, in the locker room, as opposed to bringing it on the car ride home. Or
Well, let me ask you this. You said Riley wanted to coach. You wanted you to coach him, and the girls were okay with it. But is it harder to coach your kid or sit in the stands and watch your kid play for another coach?
Especially if it's Patsy who got the job over you. Is there a little bit more criticism because you guys both interviewed?
That's a tough spot.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would say it's more difficult to be the parent in the stands.
I agree.
Especially because you get all the other voices, and they all want to say something to you.
Yeah.
And not only am I also a coach there,
Especially when they have a grievance.
teacher there.
Yeah,
and,
they have a grievance and they're going to you because they think you know and you're right.
And you got to be careful even with your body language, because if you're just doing
Yes.
this,
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah.
No, I'm listening to
Yeah,
you.
you're
It's
saying
like,
nothing. It's,
hey, you want to vent, you want to say something,
Yep.
like, okay, it's no different if I was the coach. So, my kids really haven't been like, bitchers and complainers as far as like that goes to me, because they know the coaching side of it.
Right.
And I mean, I would like to say, I think Riley was a pretty easy guy to coach, and he was going to do no matter what was said, and he was a true point guard and was going to. So, he just knew that I'm not going to do any of this with that. Never really brought anything to me. Never was going to say anything to me. So it made that easy. I got another one coming. That's a sophomore now. So a couple more years in. So
you never had a conversation with Riley that was like,
no,
Coach said this, Coach did this.
His demeanor and his approach, and like you coached him to travel. I mean, in a lot of ways, him and Zach were so much the same. Like their demeanor, they're like they don't get emotional.
They're flatline.
As far as that goes,
Yeah.
they're just steady. They're like, oh, let's push his button. Keep pushing. Like they're just,
Right.
which is crazy because we're nuts.
Right.
Right.
And then everyone's like, why is your kid? Our kid has to be like that because we're nuts.
Right.
I don't know. But
Well, that's what you always hear when we get in interviews. They're like, I love Zach because your dad's an idiot, but you're out there on the court not saying anything. Like they
And
always.
Zach always is like, my dad's an idiot. Let's cut to the chase.
Well, before we do,
All right,
well,
okay.
can we have good times first? I mean, like, you told me to bring my drink of choice.
Yeah.
And most people know me know that I have a sweet tea always in hand.
Okay.
Even if they don't know what's in that cup, it's probably tea.
So here we go.
I brought some gifts.
Oh,
Because I was so honored.
I'm glad Randy's in the room because he didn't bring us anything.
I was so honored to know that, to be honest, not only you put me on the first night,
That's right.
but you saved the best for last.
That's right.
I mean, Randy was in the middle. That's like a fill-in.
Yeah.
Choice for Randy.
And he was the third choice. We're going to get to that too.
Randy, you were the third choice, unfortunately.
We talked to Randy a little bit about your rivalry, so we'll go back to your gifts.
Let me do the gifts.
Yeah.
I don't want to forget anything. Because now, he never scouted.
Right.
I scout everything.
Yeah.
So I got to know everything about my opponent, or I can't sleep at night.
Here we
That's
go.
just the way I am.
Here we go.
So it's like, if you don't be looking.
All right.
Like if you know Jeff Rasile,
Yep.
you know when he goes out to dinner, he's probably gonna have a water. That'd be
That's
a
it,
drink
right.
of choice.
Water.
You got
There
it.
it
So
is,
that
right
that'd
here.
be a water.
There's a water.
Now, just because we don't want to just leave him with just a water, he might be okay to put a little lemon in his water. Because he's very picky and weird about all his eating habits and all this stuff.
Ridiculous.
So, okay,
Oh,
so
it's terrible.
he's gonna try a little bit,
A little bit of
special
lemon water. All right.
Now, before I pull out this next big surprise.
Okay.
Higgins.
Yes.
What would be like a main course meal if this was all he ate or lived on? Like if he took 3 things to an island, what would be one of the things that he would have to have?
You have steak in there?
No, but what would go with the steak or go with the chicken or go with what does he have to have with everything?
French fries?
French fries, right?
What goes with fries?
Ketchup.
Does he like ketchup?
He loves ketchup. It's disgusting how much he loves ketchup.
Oh my god!
Listen.
Like if he gets a chicken sandwich, he'll put
There's-
ketchup
there-
on the one side, flip the damn thing over, put ketchup on
You
the
could
other
put a
side.
shoe on a plate and he would fill it with ketchup and eat
Let
it.
me add.
So we get.
Zach is worse than
He's
me.
got to have some ketchup
Zach
too.
is worse than me. He puts ketchup on his eggs.
That's
I don't.
disgusting.
All right, now, if we were gonna say Higgins, we don't leave you out.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I mean,
Let's go.
if we were gonna say, okay, hey, I got a drink of choice, what would maybe be something you say like, hey, at this level, that's a beer I don't even need anymore.
That's right.
What would you give up? What would be a beer that you would say, I don't even want to drink that beer anymore?
Miller Lite, Bud Light, Coors Light, anything that tastes like water. Miller Lite.
And you have Miller on the first one.
All right. And for you, I'll drink that. Thank you, Steve.
I got more because you got to have one for every show.
Okay.
I figured you might be passed on Bush.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna have to go down south before I drink that.
And just because we're living in it and everyone would have expected it, we had to bring you a Corona.
Oh, no. I like Coronas at the beach.
So
you and me, we're going on vacation.
So Jeff gets 3 things. You get 3 things. I didn't know he was going to stay for the show. I could have maybe brought some party gifts for him. But listen, we're going to have our time with him next year.
Yeah.
First
of all, I appreciate that, brother. We appreciate the gift.
Here it comes. Ready? The big question.
We had
the big question.
We had an idea of this first show. We obviously wanted to bring you on. Jeff's been a friend of yours for a long time. We know you're returning a stud group. We know McDonald's returning a stud group.
District championship 2 years ago, you won. District championship last year, McDonald wins.
Amy Dolsack leaves. Tony Mattizi comes on board. History of a great coach, right? A little bit of history with you. We asked Tony to come on, and we love Tony. He's been great to us, so we're not gonna. I'm not trying to burn a bridge with Tony. We like Tony a lot. He talked about you. He said he doesn't want to come on. We asked Amy to come on. She doesn't want to talk about it, and I don't think that necessarily had to do with you. She just didn't want to. So obviously, Randy was our third choice for this.
Randy did guarantee victory next year for McDonald's.
He said 3-0 actually.
Well, I mean, I got to be honest though. And I'm not.
So no, my question to you right now is, next year, Western Reserve McDonald, where are we at?
Well, I like my chances.
Okay.
And let me go over why. Amy is the only coach that's out there around in the league that I'm going to be playing that has a winning record against me.
Okay.
So whether it was the players or Amy's gone. All right. So she did a great job with those guys. Mm-hmm. But like you said, they got a stud group coming back.
Sure.
So I mean, put Jeff with that group, they're probably going to still be pretty good and win. He probably couldn't mess that up. So we got a great group coming back. Now, with Tony coming in, like I would like to know, like, why wouldn't Tony want to be in here with me? Like, what's
I think that, you know, the people in the know around the area knows there's a little bit of rivalry tension.
Do we got to go over when and why? Or
do you want to give a little synopsis?
All right. So first off, we're taking the gloves off here.
That's up to you.
That's up to you, Steve.
Yeah. So,
hey man, this is our first show. We'd love for you to take the gloves
off. I mean, if you go back into the history of things here, I mean, Tony had a hell of a run with Logo.
Hold on, Randy's hitting the stop button.
But you know what? All that success with all those girls, they all played travel. That was when travel ball was really starting in our area.
Yeah.
And that whole crew of Logo, they had 4 girls, 3,000 or 4,000 point scorers. They were all travel ball girls.
Yep.
When did Tony meet them? When they were in high school. They were ready to go. Okay, it is what it is. I mean, when you're a coach, you need talent.
Yeah,
for sure.
We make our talent.
Yep.
Then he goes to South Range, falls into another pile of gold. Where did all those girls come from? They played travel. For
you, right?
Only a lot of them for me. Now he goes to McDonald. He's got 5 pretty good, damn good players out there. 6.
Right.
Seems like 5 of them played travel ball for someone.
For you.
So, oh yeah. So Tony's reaping some good benefits. So whether he's cutting down the nets or I'm coaching down the nets, I know I got a part of that next year. He should win next year. They got everyone back.
How many
they beat us twice this year.
How many starters do you have?
I graduated 4 seniors.
Okay.
McDonald graduated none.
Right.
I lost 1 starter, the first 2 girls off the bench. So I returned 4 starters.
Okay. Final question for you before we get into the shot clock.
Right.
Prediction. Who wins the district championship next year? Randy said McDonald by 12 points.
So you play him 3 times. Do you want to go all 3?
I think we just...
November 30th, game 1 at McDonald.
November 30th.
November 30th. I mean, the athletic directors decided that it was a great idea to put the 2 best teams in the league, game 1. When last year we had a great atmosphere.
Right. It was fantastic.
Game of the week.
I don't like that.
Great thing. And then, well, that's just the way we do things.
Yeah,
okay,
I don't like that.
Because we don't want to offend anyone. Because Ohio State, Michigan plays last game of the year. maybe West Reserve McDonald should
Right.
be. But it'll still be the last game of the year for somebody.
Right.
In the district final.
Right.
So I'm just talking district final because Steve, you and I have been in this a long time. It's nice to win league championships, but at the end of the day, it's all about advancing in that tournament. You know, I would take a district championship over a league championship every single day of the week. So district final, you versus McDonald, hopefully. Third game, prediction.
I mean, I'm betting on me 100 times out of 100.
Okay.
Especially in a big game.
What do you think you need to do different this year versus last year when they got you in the district championship?
I think we need to be more physical and more aggressive.
Okay.
We're going to be a better defensive team this year. We're going to be a little bit quicker and more athletic. We're going to play a little bit more man-to-man. And instead of letting them take the game at us, they were more physical. They were more aggressive. They got very confident, physical, strong players. We got the mindset all summer long we're taking the game at them.
And I know you pretty well. You are going to be preparing for McDonald. You've probably already been preparing for McDonald. So every practice you run, from now to that game, there's gonna be pieces of getting ready for McDonald.
Oh, after they beat us at district final, I mean, I felt right now we're on the redemption tour.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Well, that's it for Steve, except we've got a final segment called
Shot clock.
35 seconds. We're going to do a call it shot clock.
We're going to end every show with our shot clock. And Steve, since you're our last interview, we're going to do it with you.
If these are one of those like buzzer games,
No buzzer games.
It's
We're going to give you
questions.
we're going to give you options, and we're going to go rapid. It's going to be like chocolate vanilla. You
Yep.
just tell me what you do.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to put my old man glasses on. Do you want to do the clock? And you want to let me know when 35's
I will
up?
do the clock. Give
You
me
got
1
it.
second.
All right. And I'm just going to throw these at you, and you're just going to tell me what you prefer. Okay.
Alrighty.
Wait a second. I'm not as skilled. Okay. Are we ready? Coach Higgins, when you're ready, you start.
And you tell me when 35's done. Go. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
10 minutes late or 20 minutes early?
10 minutes. Oh, I want to be early. Oh,
Okay.
Absolutely.
Food, Mexican or Chinese?
Chinese.
Women, Mexican or Chinese?
Don't answer that question.
Would you rather be able to fly or be invisible?
Fly.
Drink sour milk or eat rotten eggs?
Oh. Eggs.
Jock itch or swamp ass?
10 minutes, Coach.
Swamp ass.
Best ever, Michael or LeBron?
Michael.
Last question.
Last shot for Steve. What determines your last cut? Tall dad or hot mom?
Oh, damn.
That's it for Shot Clock, and that's it for our first episode of FCP. That's
FCP,
it.
so 2 weeks from now, you'll see another one. We're going to be every 2 months.
Yep,
Wait a second, Coach Higgins.
You down with FCP?
we
You
are.
better be. Follow us on Twitter. So
Yep.
FCP, you follow us on Twitter at FCPYSN. You can follow us on Facebook, Jeff Rasile. It'll go right to it, I think.
Yeah, maybe. We're not real
maybe
sure how
not.
that works.
Tweet
we wanna-
about us, become a member of the FCP team like Cam Carson is.
#1 draft pick tonight, and we want to thank Randy Riccatelli for being in the studio tonight,
Yep.
and Steve
And
Miller
Cam Carson
and Cam Carson,
also.
Steve Miller. That was a great show, and we're thankful for both you guys for showing up.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys in a couple weeks.